Alright guys, once again you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to explain simple differences between liquidity void and fair value gap. You say the main difference between liquidity void and fair value gap is that liquidity void is a sharp movement in price with little trading in between it. When price moves sharply in one direction without proper trading, that's what we call liquidity void. While fair value gap is a price movement that occurs when there's an imbalance between buyers and sellers. Fair value gap is a gap that occurs when there is an imbalance between buyers and sellers. So you find it that generally liquidity void is a sudden price movement between two levels on a chart without a normal gradual trading activities in between. But liquidity and fair value gap is just a simple triple candlestick pattern. It occurs when there's a large price movement created by a gap between so you find it that whereas fair value gap is always identified when there's cut that off, whereas so that's for that. So you say liquidity void is a sudden price movement between two levels in a price chart. Yeah, when there is no normal gradual trading activities. So that I'm going to show you guys on that. But first of all, what is a normal price activities? In an uptrend, normal price activities, you find it that its price continually makes an higher high, higher low, and higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and higher high. This is an uptrend. Whereas in downtrend, normal gradual trading activities, find that the price moves lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and a lower low. So this is normal bearish activities, normal gradual trading activities, whereas this is a normal bullish trading activities. But you find it that most of the time you see something like this: price zoom off in a price chart before making a normal trading activities. So this act of price moving from one price range to another without a normal trading activities is what we refer to as liquidity void. Do you understand? Whereas fair value gap is a kind of a gap that price makes. It's just a gap in price movements that occurs when there is an imbalance between buyers and sellers. That's why I said, how can you identify a fair value gap? Fair value gap often occurs or is simply identified by a triple candlestick pattern. Triple candlestick patterns. So it occurs when a large price movement creates a gap between the high of one candle and then the low of the following candle, which do not overlap each other. For example, this is what I mean. This is a candlestick right here. Okay, let's say this is a candlestick. Please excuse me. Okay, let's say this is a candlestick. An uptrend candlestick is always identified with a kind of green candle, right? So let's say this is an up up a bullish candlestick, right? Sorry about that. Let's say this is a bullish candlestick, which we have its wick right here. You understand? Say another wick, that's a tail, then a wick right here, that's a candlestick. Then after that, another one open right below here. Okay, another candlestick open right here, and its tail is right here. Let's say its tail is right here. And the upper portion right here. Okay, so then another one open right after here. Another candlestick open right here. Okay, its tail right here. Okay, okay, now we say simply what is fair value gap. Fair value gap, how to identify fair value gap, we said is often identified in a triple candlestick patterns. When it also occurs, it is identified in a triple candlestick pattern. How? When there is a large price movement creating a gap between high of a particular candlestick, a gap between this candlestick high, this is a candlestick high, then and the low of the following candle, the third candle rather, without this low of this candle and the high of this overlapping. So this is what we mean. Where is the gap? The gap between this candlestick high and this candlestick low is what we often refer to as fair value gap, which we call FVG. So that is our fair value gap. Now listen very carefully. Example of a bullish setup is this. Now when we are talking about a bearish, and this is what we call bullish fair value gap in a bullish setup, when candlestick is making a higher high like this, right? So this is an example of a bullish fair value gap, which I would like to type it here. Right? Just type it here. We type bullish fair value gap, right? So this is an example of fair value gap, bullish fair value gap, when price is making an higher high, higher low, and this occur. This is a bullish fair value gap. Okay, this is my bearish candlestick, triple candlestick pattern that indicates fair value gap. So once this is formed, we said for a bearish scenario, we said the low of this candlestick and the high of this particular candlestick, the gap between that is what we call fair value gap. But because it's downtrend, down candle, we call this one specifically bearish. We said this one is called bearish fair value gap. You understand? So this is example of bearish fair value gap. Then note, please, fair value gap relates with liquidity void, because wherever you have a fair value gap in a higher time frame, when you scale down to the lower time frame, you often see it as liquidity void. For example, this is a 3-hour candlestick. This is candle number 1, candle number 2, and candle number 3. So the space between this and this is what we call fair value gap in 3 hours time frame. That's a fair value gap. Then you also have candle number 1, candle number 2, candle number 3. This is an example of a bearish fair value gap. So, but when we are talking about liquidity void, we say liquidity void is a quick or a sudden price movement between two levels on a chart without a normal gradual trading activities, in which we've explained what trading activities mean. But we want you to understand today that anytime you have a fair value gap in higher time frame, when you scale down, you will see a liquidity void. For example, if we go down to let's say 30 minutes or 15 minutes time frame, you will find out that this is a quick sudden movement, but it was a fair value gap. This is a quick sudden movement from this point, from one point to another. This is a quick sudden movement. You understand? This is a liquidity void. You also come to this other one we explained. We saw this in a 3-hour time frame as a fair value gap, but here is a quick sudden movement, and we call this liquidity void. This is liquidity void. So this is how you can identify the difference between liquidity void and a fair value gap. Simply, fair value gap is a 3. Quick recap: fair value gap is a 3 triple candlestick patterns that shows the difference between one candlestick's high to the following candlestick low, without two of them overlapping, whereas liquidity void is a sharp displacement from one point to another in price chart. So I will be teaching more on this and explaining how to use them as potential PD arrays. So quick one here. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a understanding. If there's any other question, what you didn't understand, leave it in the comment section. Comment or review. Probably in our next video we'll start from there. Thank you so much. Peace and love. Boss Joe.